Well, after that little quad crash, I there was no damage, so I took it and put a bigger battery on it. And for some reason, I didn't get the video on the second flight because I flew for 5 or 6 minutes just all over the field, totally manual mode, fast, crazy, making turns, worrying about hitting trees on the other side of the field because I couldn't see that far. But 5 or 6 minutes there, I was just cutting up. That didn't show on the video for some reason. I just got one of the two flights. At the end of the second flight, I accidentally brushed a tree limb. The quad fell out of the air, landed on a bleacher, aluminum bleacher, and did have damage to it, which I'll show you here in a second. The first flight was to be able to measure the height of that tree so I can set my return to launch altitude 20-30 feet higher than that tree. The field down below is 50-60 feet below the one I've been flying in, and inside the software you can set your return to launch altitude. So I needed to figure out what it was above that tree so I can set it to that, so that then the days coming up, because I'm trying to break out of that little small field now that I have capability to do so, if for any reason I'm below that tree or down in the other field near the ground, whatever, and the vehicle fail-safes or returns to launch for any reason, I don't want it trying to return straight back to the launch point. I want it to actually go straight up in the air to an altitude about 20 feet above that tree, and then proceed to the return to launch point and then land. A lot of reasons for setting stuff like that. After I get that figured out, then I have to figure out what the height is of the hill next door. And when I get that one figured out, I can zip over the top of the hill and visit my friend at Easy Storage. And if anything goes wrong, as long as there's time enough, it again will go to an altitude that lets it fly straight to return to the launch point without trying to go through any objects, and then land. So that's what's going on here. Sorry I didn't have the second video. Got the telemetry for it. But let's look at the damage.
It is a folding quad for transportation. I don't usually fold it, but it did fold up when it hit the bleacher, just exactly like this. I just picked up the parts and came on home. I wanted to do a good inspection before I put it back in the air. So, let's see what all damage we have here. First of all, the GoPro, actually the wood came loose and the two tie wraps broke. So tie wrapping that wood piece right there to the one above it in case it came loose, the main tie wraps did not allow it to hang. It did not work as advertised. If the whole thing, if the 4 orange grommets had come off, it may have. GoPro wasn't hurt. And so there's one good prop there. Looking down through here, some wires came out of their tucked away place. Antenna moved down That's why I repositioned that so it could do that. No harm there. A little bit of dirt on top of the GPS. It's going to be hard to fix. Let's see. Put a little spit on it. Little alcohol rub and it'll be fine. Antennas on the RC receiver still fine. Oh, it looks good actually. Fell only about 20 feet. It's fallen 100 feet before. Alright, let's try to see what all damage is done. Go ahead and make it into a quad again. You're supposed to actually loosen the screws. I didn't. I'm going to tighten them down. Okay, she's a quad again instead of a folded up quad. ESC looks good. Got a little bit of breaking installation there on the wire. I'm going to have to patch. Go ahead and take the prop adapter off. ESC wire's good. Everything tight. Those can be tucked back up later. So far, no real damage. Nope. Okay. Check that ESC and wire. No problem there. Looks like I lost 3 out of 4 props. Okay. Use a little tool to get this. Alright, now we get that one off of there. Yeah, that one's a little damaged. Nothing wrong with that one. Probably out of balance. There's parts of that prop. Throw them in the pile. I also got all the other ones I picked up out of the field. Might as well throw them in the pile too. Pack it out. Parts is parts. Let's see. 9-inch props. I need. Nope. Need one that rotates the opposite direction. Here you go. Yep, that's opposite. Fits kind of tight. Actually, I have to screw them down. Prop adapter back on top. Get a little bit of dirt out of it first. Okay. Yeah, I need a black one, counterclockwise. Actually, that one would be clockwise. I need another one that's counterclockwise. Don't seem to have any more counterclockwise black props. Guess I could use one of those green ones there. I like the 9-inch props. Motors don't work as hard. Don't get as hot. 9-inch seems to be best for this. I do have 10. Got some 12s on the way just to check it out. Let's see what happens when they get in. No other props over in the spare bin either. Darn it. Oh well. We'll just drop back and punt. These 3 back in their bag. Guess I better order some. Pack of 4 or 5 is $2 or so. Once I quit breaking them, I'll use carbon fiber. Yeah. Okay. This is a lot of fun for you guys. Okay, 9-inch props off. Got 3 of one rotation for the back and 2 for the other rotation. And I'll still get some more green or orange ones. Okay. Lay those aside so I can order later. Let's grab some 10-inchers. Here's a 10-inch one. What direction of rotation is it? Counterclockwise. It goes there. Find a clockwise one. Still got lots of 10-inch props left. I just prefer the 9s. To do some more studying on flight times with props, this, that, and the other benchmarks. Some more of those hovering ones you guys hate. That's the same. Counterclockwise. Must have 6 or 8 of those. So it must be this bag. Yep. That one goes clockwise. Those back. Find me some 10-inch. One of each. One clockwise, one counterclockwise. What are these? It's like a counterclockwise. I'll put you up there. Huh. Actually, it seems like one of each was in the box, the bag. They sometimes come like that. There'll be two of one direction and two of the other direction in the 4-pack. I prefer them that way, but you take what you can get. Sometimes they're difficult to come by. Washer. Prop adapter. All these spares up. I'll have to order some 9s. Okay, let's make sure they're torque tight. I like these, they don't need a wrench. Yeah, there's something wrong there. That one's wiggly. Wiggling back and forth. What the heck is going on there? Okay, they're all tight. And one still bothers me. What is going on there? Huh. I didn't take the camera off. Gotta take the ultrasonic sensor off the bottom of it first. And there we go. Camera's clear. That one looks good. That one just wiggles. What the heck? Look at that wiggle. Take that bad boy back off, see if we can figure out what's wrong with it. Never. Well, the motor's not bent. But the prop adapter is. Wow. It's pretty thick steel. Aluminum, lum-de-dum, whatever it is. I don't have a replacement. I guess I'll have to order. Didn't expect to be in prop adapters. Such be life. Glad it wasn't the motor. Put this bad boy back down. Yep, they're not mixed up. They're all 10s. Sometimes a few of them get mixed up. You just gotta check real quick. Put them in separate bags. Find the battery that popped off during the crash and just pop it right back on. Use up the rest of it. Make sure we're getting full time and usage out of it. Oh, come on. You're just being hateful now. There we go. Just that easy. Everything looks undamaged. Balance. Oops, too far to the back. Push the battery forward on the rails. Still too far back. Might as well go ahead and check a little more here real quick. The arm. Spin them up. Yep. Okay. All rotate in the correct direction. All right. Repair job done. Let's see how she got. Great camera. Wobbling back and forth because of that fin prop adapter, but other than that, it's just as good as it ever was.
Heading change to stabilize. Altitude is 0. Ground speed is 0. Mode changed to RDL. Mode changed to stabilize. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 1. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 2. Ground speed is 0. Mode changed to alt-hold. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 0. Ground speed is 0. Mode changed to loiter. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 37. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 151. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 64. Ground speed is 0. Mode changed to RDL. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 27. Ground speed is 0. Mode changed to loiter. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 9. Ground speed is 4. Mode changed to RDL. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 0. Ground speed is 9. Crash. Disarming. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 6. Ground speed is 2. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 4. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 4. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 4. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 4. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 4. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 4. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 4. Ground speed is 0. Mode changed to stabilize. Vernon. Battery at 6.07 volt. 100%. Mode changed to loiter. Mode changed to stabilize. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 4. Ground speed is 0. Vernon. Battery at 5.60 volt. 99%. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 0. Ground speed is 0. Mode changed to auto. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 19. Ground speed is 3. Mode changed to loiter. Mode changed to RDL. Mode changed to loiter. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 15. Ground speed is 7. Mode changed to RDL. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 15. Ground speed is 22. Mode changed to loiter. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 43. Ground speed is 1. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 88. Ground speed is 14. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 71. Ground speed is 1. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 48. Ground speed is 9. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 25. Ground speed is 11. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 56. Ground speed is 2. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 57. Ground speed is 16. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 46. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 28. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 8. Ground speed is 7. Warning, no data for 14 seconds. Warning, no data for 19 seconds. Warning, no data for 24 seconds. Warning, no data for 29 seconds. Warning, no data for 34 seconds. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 8. Ground speed is 7. Warning, no data for 44 seconds. Warning, no data for 49 seconds. Warning, no data for 54 seconds. Mode changed to stabilize. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 0. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 5. Ground speed is 0. Mode changed to auto. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 7. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is -1. Ground speed is 0. Mode change to loiter. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 5. Ground speed is 0. Crash. Disarming. Crash. Disarming. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 6. Ground speed is 2. Mode change to auto. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 3. Ground speed is 1. Mode change to loiter. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 6. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 8. Ground speed is 1. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 15. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 15. Ground speed is 1. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 18. Ground speed is 0. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 3. Ground speed is 1. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 10. Ground speed is 1. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is -11. Ground speed is 0. Mode changed to stabilize. Heading to waypoint home. Altitude is 7. Ground speed is 1.
Of course, for HobbyKing.com with another great product we're going to talk about today. Today we've actually got the Quantum FT